For those of you just joining, we will be getting started pretty soon. We're just giving some people time to get logged in and set up. And today we're going to be covering converting during the coronavirus impact. By the end of this webinar, you're going to learn some ethical and compliant actionable tips to continue to serve your prospects and your applicants, and especially during this time when it's hard to get them to come into your campus or to have an in-person visit. So we'll just be starting in a couple minutes. If you want to engage with us, there is a chat feature in this webinar, and please, by all means, chat with us, give us your questions, and later we'll try to take some live questions and answers. So if you guys can just give us a couple more minutes. We're just letting people log in, and today we're covering the converting during the coronavirus impact webinar. By the end of this webinar, we're going to teach you some ethical and compliant tactics to help you convert your prospects, to engage with your applicants, and get people still converting during this period. So hopefully you guys can hear me. If so, if somebody wants to just chat real quick and say, hey, I can hear you, hey, I can see your screen, that would be helpful. I just want to make sure we're good.
I can hear you and see your screen.
Woohoo! Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, let's get started. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And today we're going to be talking about how to convert during the coronavirus impact. This is a very big topic right now, especially because schools are shut down, people are stuck at home, and honestly, you know, keeping the social distance is definitely going to help, but at the same time, it's not helping us schools. So we want to give you guys some insights on how you can, actionable insights on how you can ethically and compliantly convert people, serve your prospects, serve your applicants. And just a quick note, when I say compliant, all of these things are compliant as far as I know, but please check with your compliance team and make sure that these tactics are compliant against all the regulators that you have at your campus and your school. Okay, so as we are all aware, regulations change all the time. Okay, awesome. So today we have here myself, Ricky Romero. I'm the founder and CEO at Inspirio Enterprises. I also have Kathy Belletti here, who's the VP of Operations at Inspirio. We've been in the education industry for years. I've personally worked in higher ed for over 14 years. I oversaw a very large marketing budget over 4 campuses, 2 different school systems, and $1.5 million marketing budget. And then I also oversaw, as a regional director of admissions, admissions advisors of teams over 30 admission advisors and directors of admissions. So very familiar with the admissions and marketing side of things. Kathy?
Hey guys, welcome. My name is Kathy Belletti, VP of Operations. I started from the very bottom as an admissions advisor. I have 15 plus years in B2B sales as well as admissions, and I worked my way up to director of admissions, where I worked in various campuses. Then I oversaw a number of campuses, training admissions teams and directors, working in operations. So we definitely understand the full student life cycle. And at this point in time, we felt that it was necessary to reach out and try to reach as many schools as possible, which is why Inspirio was started. So now, instead of being confined to one school, we help multiple schools nationwide.
Yeah, thank you for that. So the reason why we are getting together and doing this webinar is because this impact has really affected a lot of us. And You know, there's still a way though that you can continue to virtually convert your prospects and your applicants and get them through the system. We've been helping schools, and we've also been talking with schools who are currently doing it. So we want to help you, you know, get some insights on what you guys can do today, actionably, tactics that you can use today to get in touch with your people. And although our expertise is admissions and marketing for higher education, most, if not all of these tactics can be applied across your other departments and other industries where, you know, we depend on face-to-face interactions. So I'm talking like your high school admission rep can actually engage with the high school students. Your teachers and your academic support can engage with students. Your career services can engage with employers and students and graduates. So all of this, you know, think of it as a multi-use.
All right, awesome. So first off, we're going to be covering 3 expert secrets today. The first one is going to be the face-to-face myth. Okay, we are going to debunk any misconceptions you might have and explore the underutilized virtual world of converting prospects. Then we're going to go into 12 clever tactics. So you're going to learn about 12 tools and tactics to get you to connect, bond, and convert your prospects. And then being a superhero. You know, we're going to uncover our closely held secrets to build rapport and inspire prospects to take action. So first off, the main reason why we did this webinar is a couple of different things. Number one, converting is the number one function. You know, converting your prospects is the most important function in any organization. It's the blood, it's your backbone. Without it, your organization will suffer or wither. Plus, if you implement these tips, you'll be ahead of the game and your competition into the future. And one last thing, after helping so many schools, we realized that they actually lack the resources necessary for them to continue being successful in the absence of a face-to-face interview. So one thing that we urge you guys, do not stop enrolling. It is super important. Do not stop enrolling. We beg this of you. Okay, we are witnessing schools that are pausing or slowing down and not enrolling virtually because they're laying their staff off. There's so many things that you can implement to keep prospects engaged during this impact. But then we're also seeing schools that are still enrolling every day because of the tactics that we're going to show you. Okay, so expert secret number 1.
Oh, actually, before we get into that, Kathy,
Sure.
there's a couple things that we want to share with you guys today. And this is why we're saying do not stop enrolling. And, you know, although some schools are trying to pull back, we really urge you not to. And the reason why is because of these reasons. There are less schools advertising right now, and there are less schools converting. We are actually hearing schools shutting admissions down, shutting their marketing down for the time being. What does that mean for you? Well, there's more people at home, more than ever, and they are on their phones and they're browsing online and they're doing virtual things, right? So this is all confirmed by us watching the advertising, us getting expert advice from some of the world-leading sales and marketing gurus, and the stories that we're hearing from other schools. So we're trying to tell you right now, do not pull back. Actually, double down if you can. If you can, double down. Why? Because when there are less people advertising, that means there's less ads in your prospect's eyeballs, and your ad is going to float to the top, and you're going to get more frequency. And the ads, by the way, are cheaper than ever right now. So it just makes a lot of sense to do that. So please pull back. Don't pull back. Also, if your admissions team has trouble like contacting your prospects just in normal times, now they're literally at home. I mean, they're not doing anything except sitting there and watching news and all that stuff, looking at social media. So call them and email them and all these other tactics we're about to show you. So anyway, that just strengthens what Kathy just said about please don't stop enrolling. Okay.
You know, it makes a lot of sense because you have everyone that's home right now, and this is going to blow over, but at the same time, your prospects that are home right now, they're preparing themselves for when schools start to open. So this is the time to really, double down and really get them on the phone and find out what their inspirations are. So the first secret, face-to-face interactions are the most powerful. Why? Well, the connection, facial expressions, chemistry. Not everyone gets to experience it all the time. So when they do, it's kind of nice, and constantly these prospects, they're on their phone. So being able to come to a school or, virtually meet with someone face to face, it's a nice break. But guess what? You don't have to interact face to face. Technology has made things so much easier to still deliver human interaction, which we're actually going to cover in secret too. And it's the way that you deliver that's super important that we're going to go over when we get to secret 3. So here's some of the reasons that you need to think about communicating virtually. And this has been happening over time. Number one, look where we are. We're in a health scare. Okay, you have all different types of national disasters. Look at last year or the year before when they had that huge snowstorm that the city was not even prepared for. It was supposed to be a couple inches and then it ended up more than a couple feet. And I was caught up in that. At that time, I was actually traveling, 3 hours back and forth to an actual campus. Some students actually live a little too far away. So as you can see, these are some of the tactics that you can use despite the impact. These are tactics that you can use at all point in time. Childcare has always been an underlying issue. You have children or other obligations and cannot even attend an appointment. You don't want to be in a position where you have to wait 8 to 10 days to get somebody to actually find out more about what you can offer them as a school. Some people are just super busy, and you always hear that number one excuse, oh, I don't have time, I don't have time. But once you're able to get to what's inspiring them and you link that with how you're going to be able to help them, it makes it so much easier. Transportation issues. We've dealt with students who have to take like 2 trains and 5 buses just to get to their school, just to get to your school. But at the same time, if there's virtual interviews, it makes it easier for the prospect to get the information that they need. A lot of people psych themselves out. They're too nervous or scared. A lot of times you have friends and family that the prospects are dealing with, and they're the ones that's actually enabling them to not move forward. You have some families that's saying, how are you supposed to do this now? You have 5 kids. There's no way that you can do this, of course. And a lot of times you are their only chance to really make that difference. Afraid to commit. And some people are just too lazy. You all know that some of your prospects are our ideal procrastinators, by nature. And so it's your job to really buckle down and really get inside of what's making them want to go on the internet and research your school. Why did they call you in the first place? Why haven't they gone from step A to step B? Everything in the middle is what you're supposed to figure out so that you can help them and inspire them to take that next step.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. So just a quick housekeeping. If anybody has a question, we're going to mute all of the mics for now, except for me and Kathy. But if you have a question, there is a chat pane or panel that you can ask your questions. So at any time, feel free to throw those questions out. If we can, we'll answer them right then and there on the spot. Otherwise, we'll wait until later during the presentation. But if something pops up and you don't want to forget, go ahead and ask in the chat. So now we're going to go over secret number 2, the 12 tactics. We actually came up with a dozen. The last time I did this webinar a couple weeks ago, I only had 11, and I was so upset because I didn't hit my 12. But anyway, we're going to go over 12 tactics that you can use now. And the first one, I call it sales pages. And when I say sales page, I'm not like, the word sales is not a good word in higher education. I'm talking more of a platform where you can actually virtually guide people through your application process and your documentation process. And even if you can collect funds online, then that also serves as that as well. Okay, so your sales page is basically, you can put on your application. And for some states, the state doesn't approve e-signatures and stuff like that. So I would just do as much as I possibly can. But every other tactic we're about to share with you is going to point back to this sales page, because this sales page is going to help you fulfill some of the beginning steps. And more importantly, it's actually going to support commitment from your prospect. When your prospect like actually fills something out, or they sign something or hit that submit button, it gives them that sense of commitment, that moving forward, and now they're in it, they're in the game. So you want this sales page and things like it that can actually do that. So the best process that I recommend, if you can do this, is have your entire online application on there. If for security reasons you don't want to collect social security numbers and all that, date of births online, then that's fine. But at least get most of the information. Again, you want that commitment. When they go to the next page, they should be able to sign contracts. If they can't do that, I understand, then mail them or email them the contracts that they can sign and scan and mail back to you, or fax back to you, or direct mail back to you. And then the last one is payments. If you can accept payments like your deposit or processing fees or whatever, I recommend integrating with PayPal or Stripe to be able to do that. So tactic number 2, live video one-on-one. So in-person is the first most powerful. Well, live video is the second most powerful way to communicate with your prospects and applicants. And I like to use Zoom or Skype or Hangouts. There's other video chat platforms. Like right now we're using Zoom, and I've actually had one-on-one interviews on Zoom. And you're talking with them. You can share your screen. You can share your slides. You can show videos. You can just show your face. And sometimes they don't want to show their face, but at least they can call in and still you can hear each other and they can still see you. That's important. The face, like actually seeing somebody's face and their eyeballs and their facial expressions, that really does make a lot of power behind that. Oh, and going back to live video, sorry, I forgot to say this, but what I would recommend here is you can actually do a full-on interview. Like I'm talking is if they were in-house and you're seeing them face-to-face, you're greeting them, you take them on a tour. Well, on the live video, you can have a virtual tour where it's a video and the video is walking around your campus, and your admission advisor can actually talk out the different spots. You can have a video where you're greeting people. You can actually take your camera with you and take a real live tour of the campus. But if your reps are not on campus, then just have a video that's doing all of that for them. And then you can, once you're done with that interview, you can actually send them over to your sales page and have them complete the application process.
One more thing, Ricky, and when it comes to the live video, you want to make sure that you actually have an interview presentation. It makes it so much easier, especially since you'll be able to share your screen. So your interview presentation is going to be set up the same exact way as if they were on campus with you. There should be some history about the school. You should go into, a comparison between traditional versus career school, whatever situation you guys are in. Give them some background on stats, depending on the program that they're interested in. And then you should also have the tour, like Ricky said, where you can break to a video, or you have a couple of different pictures of your labs or classrooms so they get to see the classroom sizes. But then also talk about career services, financial aid, or any financing options that you may have at your school. And it may be a good idea to actually tune in to one of your financial aid advisors so that they can actually walk them through that process when it gets to that time. But that presentation, as far as the interview presentation, is going to help your advisors substantially when they're doing the live video, because then it also keeps it structured, it's very professional, and then they can actually walk through the interview with the prospect from the very beginning to the end.
And tactic number 3 is the phone call. It's very similar to the live video, but it's only voice, right? You can't see the person. So in the same way that Kathy and I illustrated how you would walk them through the interview, you would do the same thing. minus the, visual presentation part. And then if possible, you can even send them to a web page presentation so that you can walk them through over the phone, like, a specific interview platform where you're talking about financial aid and career services, and you're showing a virtual tour on video. And so you're just guiding them through this one presentation that they can see online. That really does help. The visuals do help. So one pro tip here is to buy a phone number that matches the area code of your prospects. So if you have a 509 area code, but your prospects live in 564, then get a 564 local number as well. Prospects trust local numbers better than non-local or 800 numbers. So as you can see here in this illustration, Tony, the admission advisor, is in a 303 area code, but Samantha is calling from a 516. And there's a platform that you can use to actually convert your number to look like it's coming from a 516. So it really does help a little bit. Tactic number 4, texting. This is a great way to connect, but it's slower than, the traditional interview process. You can actually guide somebody to showing up for a tour using texting. You can guide them to actually applying by using texting. And what we recommend is that you have a script, and hopefully everyone has a script, but you have a script that's actually tailored to texting. So it's more condensed, more refined. There's less questions, easier to answer questions out there, and it more quickly guides people. And a lot of times when you're texting, sometimes you'll text and then you kind of walk away from your phone and you come back. So you want to leave that kind of breathing room and not be too hassly on them. But you can send them a link to your sales page, and you could just keep nurturing them for next steps if they're an applicant. There's some really great texting tools. One's called Easy Texting, where you can upload a giant list of phone numbers and it will text blast out for you. So if you're promoting something or you want them to do something, Twilio and call tracking metrics are great for doing one-on-one texting and integrating that with your CRM. So if you have a CRM that allows this kind of integration, all you do is press a button, or at a certain time, a prospect gets a text and a certain message. That can all be integrated with Twilio and call tracking metrics.
Hey, Ricky, we have a question. Lola wants to know, what is the platform that you had mentioned that helps convert your number to a local number?
Great question, Lola. Actually, if you go to Twilio or call tracking metrics, they do offer where you can purchase phone numbers from other area codes, and it's like $1 a month or something. So it's very, affordable. You don't have to buy every area code in the United States, just the main ones that you typically get prospects from. If you are an online school and you get numbers from all over, then maybe you do want to buy one from every area. But for the most part, just get some that you need. So when you're doing text messaging, you do not want to just be boring. You want to stand out. You want people to, when they see you, they're like, whoa, that was disruptive. That really pulled me out of my social media haze, and now I see this really cool thing. So here's some examples that we send to prospects that are missing appointments or that need to move forward. So here's a text. Where were you? I missed you at yesterday's appointment. Ready to reschedule? Or, I know life can sometimes be hard, but when would you like to come in and change your life? Here's another one with Yao. It's not too late to get started for your next term. Enrollment is ending soon. When are you free for a call today? You notice how all of these have a question at the end. You want to ask the questions at the end. Life and me, I feel like that all the time sometimes. Sometimes life seems against you, but I'm not. I'm here to help you achieve your career goals. When do you want to come in for a visit to the campus? And my favorite one, Kathy, how well does this one work?
95% of the time you get a response. And the reason is people love pets. And so you have that person that's continuously no-showing, the aliens took them, they keep ghosting you, and you send this to them, and all of a sudden you get a response. So did you really miss your appointment? Don't worry, I'm still ready to help you change your life. When do you want to reschedule? This one works almost 95% of the time. Everyone loves pets for the most part.
Oh, yeah. Okay, secret tactic number 5, social media direct message. This, guys, is our expert secret. We have used this to great effect when you have a prospect or an applicant who just plays hard to get, and you can't reach them on the phone, you can't text them, you can't email them, they're just like gone, but all of a sudden you say, okay, Facebook, let me look up this person, and there they are, and now I'm gonna friend them and I'm gonna direct message them. You can use Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, I mean, wherever you think they are, try to hunt them down and find them. You know, you're not trying to be a stalker here. You're actually trying to help them, right? That's our job. Our job is to help people to change their lives for the better. And so hopefully they don't confuse your stalkerishness as actually your passion for wanting to help them. Okay. So let's see. If you can, if they actually do engage here, and we have had people engage back, try to get them on the phone or a live video. And if they're, you know, they're not wanting to do that, then maybe send them to your sales page and have them fill out the application. It is definitely a good way to keep somebody moving forward in the process, though. All right, secret number 6, live chat. Oh my gosh, I love live chat. You know, when we install live chat on websites, we almost instantly see increase in leads of 2% to 5% per month. And why is that, you're wondering? Is because live chat is a very passive way for people to communicate with you. If you have a website that has a web form and a phone number and your address, and nobody's walking in and nobody's calling you and nobody's filling out the lead form, the live chat is actually the more passive way for them to communicate with you. And so the way we structure live chats is we actually embed not auto responses, but canned responses that your live chat team can pull from. So it basically runs through your appointment setting script or your interview setting script. And it's more condensed and it's easier for them to answer the questions, but you basically structure it so that you can get them to commit to an appointment or to an interview or virtual, you know, live video call or something like that. And some of the popular tools is live chat, Acquire, and Olark. I've used all 3 of them. They pretty much all work the same. They're all great. If you Google live chat for websites, there's like a million of them. So, you know, just pick your favorite one. But if you don't have live chat, you're missing out on leads, definitely, for sure. You can actually conduct an interview on live chat as well. It's a little bit more slow, so you want to condense your process, but you can do that. And you can send them a link to your sales page where, by the way, you have live chat set up so that when they go to the sales page, you're there with them and you can guide them through the application. You can guide them through like a live tour or something like that. And in live chat, you can send links, not links, but you can upload like forms to them and things like that for them to download. So it's a really cool feature. Number 7, live group video. Okay, so what do we mean by live group video? This is different than your one-on-one video. This is where actually what we're doing right now on Zoom, we have a webinar where all of you are here. You're looking at what we're teaching you. But in the case that you could use it, you could actually do a virtual tour, an open house, a Q&A session. Maybe you have your financial aid team and they're answering questions. You can have an in-house event. Maybe you're having like a virtual event party. Like I saw recently, this guy was having he was a DJ or something. He was playing music and having like this virtual party, and people were like connecting and joining in and having fun. I mean, you could do all types of stuff. You can showcase a program or something like that. Virtual dance party. Yeah. So what I recommend here is using Facebook Live. You can use Zoom like we are here, Skype, Instagram Live, YouTube Live. And the reason why you want to do this and have all these people together is because you can actually open up for people to ask questions. And you can actually, if you're doing it on your phone, you can walk around with you and give a tour of the campus. It's really cool. And I truly, truly recommend that you use Facebook Live for some of your on-campus stuff. Like I wouldn't do it here for Zoom, I mean for this webinar, but for doing a virtual tour, I would definitely recommend it for Facebook because a lot of people are on Facebook still, like more than any other platform. And when you actually go live on Facebook, and it's really easy to do, you just click the go live button. When you go live on Facebook, people will get notified that, hey, this person is going live, even if you're not connected with them. So people might see your page going live and join in and learn something about your school. So it's actually a really great way to do that. Another reason for the marketing side of things is because when people do engage with your Facebook Live, whether they watch the live or the recorded version of it, you can actually tag them with a, what's it called, a pixel. So anybody who's ever watched your video, you can do remarketing to them. So it's kind of a cool, trick to get them in and then also to do some extra marketing to them. And I would definitely answer questions on the spot. I would also say, hey, is anybody here thinking that they want to enroll? Raise your hand or put it in chat. And when people do say, yes, I do want to enroll, there's a little bit of social proof there, a little extra oomph to your sales pitch, in quotes. And the last thing is you can send them to your sales page. All right, secret number 8, webinar. It's what we're doing now. Webinars are different than like a virtual tour or an open house. Webinars are more informational. So you want to present helpful information. Don't make it a sales thing like, hey, come to this webinar and we're going to sell you on our medical assisting program. Make it more like, what benefits are you going to get from the medical assisting field? What benefits are you going to get from the IT field? What are the career opportunities? Maybe you could have some guests come on. And webinars are a little bit more passive. They're more helpful. You're giving really helpful information. And then through that, it is branding your school, your expertise, and that kind of thing. So the platforms we use, Zoom, GoToMeeting, or GoToWebinar, Skype. For webinars, you can use the social lives, but I like using the Zoom, GoToMeeting, Skype, that kind of stuff, because you can actually capture people's information. So, for example, if you post a webinar out there on social media, I mean, it's actually a good lead generator. It really does bring in some good quality prospects. So the better thing to do instead of going live is to actually have a registration form, and then that becomes one of your leads. And I would have chat open. I would answer questions right on the spot. You can have a webinar on financial aid, on career opportunities in a program, how to pick the right school. You can even do things that don't relate to your school. For example, how to balance your budget or how to manage your finances. And through that, you can talk about your school. You can have guest speakers come on. So it's a really cool thing. You can show your face or you can show slides like we're doing, and always in the webinar with a call to action to your sales page or to some sort of next step. Okay. Secret tactic number 9, live conference call. Oh, I forgot to change the picture. Kathy, that's your fault, right? You didn't proof it? Sorry. Imagine there's a conference call graphic here, guys, and a really good one, a really funny one. Okay, so live conference call, what do we mean? Now, if people aren't coming on to your webinars and they're not doing your live videos, you can actually set up a live conference call where you're just kind of talking and you're answering questions. And, there's no real structure to it, even though you may have like a mini structure, but just let people ask questions, or have a brainstorm or something like that, I like to use freeconferencecall.com, Google Conference Call. I think Google Hangouts may have a conference call line. Just Google it and conference call lines, and you'll find a bunch of tools for that. Free conference call is free, so I like using that one. And you want to have a call to action at the end, but it's a really good way to get people in that are passive. Maybe they don't have computer technology as well at their homes. Okay, and ask the group if anyone plans to sign up. Again, anybody who speaks up and says, yes, I do, this adds to your social proof. It adds to the strength of your offer. Email. Okay, hopefully you guys are emailing on a regular basis. Every brand new prospect should get a series of emails, including text messages, including phone calls. But emails, although they may not get you a direct response, they do get you lots of branding. And your brand name is top of mind. And sometimes, though, people will see your emails and they'll open it and they will respond and they will go to your sales page. So it's great for nurturing and getting that top of mind awareness. You can send emails manually, one-on-one, or you can actually automate them if you have a CRM. And like when we set up a CRM, we have automated series. So at each stage of the admissions process, we have a series of emails that go out. And I'm not talking 1 or 2 emails. I'm talking like massive amounts of emails. Not overdoing it, but massive. And each email, the most important part is the subject line. They're going to see your name in there. The from should say your school name or the admission advisor's name. But the subject line should be very, very catchy, short and catchy, really punchy, because otherwise they're not going to open your email. So the subject line gets them to open. When you write an email, make sure you're only writing 1 to 2 sentences per paragraph. That is my rule, because people don't like reading big paragraphs on screen. They like 1 or 2 sentence paragraphs. And you want to make it concise as possible. Always have a call to action in your email, like click here for more, call or text me here at this number, email me back at this number. All of those are call to actions. You want people to do something, and you can send them to your sales page or other things like that. And here's a pro tip: add a PS after your signature. If you've ever gotten any of my my emails, I always have a PS, especially when I'm trying to get somebody to take an action. For some reason, people always read that PS, and they, whatever's in there, they respond to it. So it's interesting. Okay, number 11, direct mail. All right, guys, you're probably laughing. I know direct mail doesn't work, but yes, it does. And the reason why is because less and less people are doing direct mail because they think it doesn't work. But as a matter of fact, your mail is going to stand out now because there's less mail in there. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've noticed there's less, junk mail in my mailbox these days. And so when you do send direct mail, it really does pop. I like sending a postcard because they don't have to open an envelope. They just see the message right there. But the envelope is still classy. You can send a letter from your president with a call to action to visit the sales page. You can have your admission advisors write handwritten notes. There's a lot of ways you can do direct mail to get that branding out there and to have a call to action that gets people to take action. You can even send your application directly in the mail, have them fill it out, mail it back with your self-addressed stamped envelope. And then one more tip on direct mail. There's this really cool company called lob.com, lob.com. And what they do is they integrate with your CRM or your student information system, your SIS. At a certain key point, you can trigger a personalized direct mail piece to be sent by Lob. So they'll print it, they'll put it in an envelope, they'll put postage, and then they'll send it off for you. And you can have it customized to the prospect's name. So it could say, hey, Ricky, I understand you're interested in the business management program. And then like there's a whole brochure based on that. So Lob is really cool to do that kind of stuff. It multiplies your activity.
Hey, Ricky, we have a question from Amanda. She wants to know, what are some good examples for the subject line?
Oh, that is a really good question. I don't know if I want to give these secrets away. No, I'm joking. I will be honest with you guys. The best performing subject lines that I have are like 2 or 3 words. And one of them says to, let's say you're sending an email to Ricky, to Ricky, ... That simple. Or Ricky, I have something for you, ... Don't use proper case, use lowercase. I mean, you really want to stand out. And like basically a good subject line is going to grab their attention to want to see what's inside. So when you say something like, I just saw this and thought of you, ... Like the dot, the ellipsis really gets them to think to themselves, okay, there's more. Or if you're having an open house, just make it as simple as open house tomorrow at 5 p.m. I mean, that itself is, if they're not going to open the email, at least give the message in the subject line. So there is no rule or no perfect formula for subject lines, but I would tell you this, change up what you're saying all the time. Don't just be dry and say the one thing over and over again. If you're promoting an open house, don't just say open house in the subject line every time. Say something else. Ricky, I was thinking about you. Ricky, you got to check this out, ... Or from the president is a good one. Campus president, not the U.S. president. And, hopefully that answered your questions.
You could actually use some urgency ones too, because by nature, people don't want to be left out. So you can have subjects like, you don't want to miss this important message for you. Check this out, 2 days left until, because people are curious, people do not want to be left out of anything. So, that's always going to pique their curiosity and say, wait a minute, 2 more days until what? I don't want to be left out of this. What is this? Or if it's like, check this out, or guess what happened, or look what happened at this event. Those are things that basically heighten curiosity and drives people to want to open messages also.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was a good reminder. One of our best email series that gets really good results is the Countdown Campaign. And what you do is over a 4-day period or a 5-day period, every day you're sending 2 emails. And one email says, 5 days left. Another one maybe has a urgency call to action. The second day, another 2. The third day, another 2. The last day, though, you're going to send like 4 to 6 emails, each one of them counting down the different hours remaining until a certain thing. All right, let's see. Last but not least, social media groups. Yay. Okay, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups. That's what we mean by social media groups. This is where you can establish a group of people, a community of like-minded prospects or applicants or even students, so that you can engage with them, share helpful stuff, and respond to all of their posts. You don't want to sell them on here. You want to bring a community together. It's like, think of a Facebook group as a party at your house. You're the host, and you want to give them some chips and dip. That's your content. You want to tell them like some really helpful things. You want to introduce people to each other. You want to get people involved in the conversation, and you want to chat with people, along in it. That's what a Facebook group and a LinkedIn group is all about. So this is really good. Like if you have an applicant for a certain program and you want them to be in a certain, Facebook group that's run by your department chair, or you just have all applicants in, or you have all of your high school prospects in a Facebook group. It's a really good way to kind of just keep that branding, keep that top of mind awareness, and you're actually going to build a relationship over time, by doing this. So every once in a while, it's okay to throw in some call to actions, but it should not be just strictly, a sales page. You can do some call to actions to go to your sales page or to ask for referrals or things like that. All right, let's see what else. Okay, so Kathy, we're going to do a little exercise. I'm going to give you a situation and then you tell me what you would use, okay? So prospect A wants to enroll. She has kids with no transportation or babysitting. She's committed to an appointment, but she never showed for that appointment. What would you do?
Okay, so first off, in a situation like this, you already knew from the script that there were some obstacles that you needed to overcome. So if someone no-shows for an appointment and you haven't been able to get in contact with them, you already knew that during the script, there may be some childcare issues. This person has no transportation. What you need to do is get them on a live video one-on-one. Okay, so when you finally get the prospect on the phone, you want to ensure that, okay, there's a different way that we can do this. I understand that you're not able to make it to the campus at this point in time, but this is what we can do. If you have Zoom, Zoom is the easiest. All you have to do is set up the meeting within that platform, send them the link. It's probably like a 30-second download, super important. And once they click on the link, just like you guys did today, you're able to share your screen and walk them through the entire interview process. That is the first thing that you should do when you have prospects who have challenges like this and they're not able to make it into your campuses.
All right. Okay, prospect B is thinking about enrolling, but super, super busy. What do you do?
So you can do a couple of things. You can either do the face-to-face as well, but then you can also do either the text messaging, because someone that's super busy, this is like your average prospect. How many times are you guys on the phone with a prospect or you're trying to get in contact with them? They're telling you, give me a call back at 12 o'clock. You do that, still no one on the phone at 12 o'clock. And you just can't find time to actually have that phone conversation. But all of a sudden, you send them a text message and they respond immediately. And you're like, wait a minute, I've been calling this person for the last hour, and you respond to a text right away. Like Ricky was saying before, it may take a little longer, but when people are at work, 90% of the time, they respond to your text messages because it's way more convenient for them. You know, whether they're dealing with a client and they have about 10 minutes to have a conversation with you, text messaging is the most convenient for people who are super duper busy because they may not have the opportunity to put aside time to get on a live video, you know, with you. But when it comes to text messaging, periodically they can go back to their phone, answer your questions, and a lot of times they're going to ask you another question anyway. And then you realize that, wait a minute, I just actually went through an entire interview with this person and I was able to inspire them to actually take the next step and enroll. So when it comes to people that are super busy, text messaging. 9 out of 10, a lot of people respond to text messaging because some people don't check emails and a lot of people don't check voicemails. I don't check voicemails. A lot of them are from people from China. Don't understand, but at the same time, there's tons of people out there that will respond to a text before they respond to anything else.
Yeah, another tactic you could use is webinar. Maybe they're too busy to commit to an appointment, but they can watch a webinar or webinar recording at their leisure. That definitely helps. Always push them to the sales page. Okay, last prospect here. Prospect C, the perfect prospect. Like, does everything you ask and wants to enroll right now. What do you do?
Enrollment agreement. So this goes back to what Ricky was talking about earlier. They've already made the decision that I'm ready to enroll, I'm ready to get into your school, but you can't get them into the school at this point in time. Send them the enrollment agreement in the mail, or if you are approved to do DocuSign, send them, email them the enrollment agreement and have them DocuSign it. If in fact, like Ricky mentioned earlier, they don't want to, you know, add in important information like the social security number and all that stuff, have them fill out the majority of that information so that you can actually walk them through the process. But they're ready to go. The only thing that's missing is the paperwork. So just make sure that you send that information over so that they can actually start the admissions process.
Okay, hopefully those 12 tactics were good. We still have one more secret to share with you, how to build amazing rapport with your prospects and applicants. But before we do, we have a poll for you. Which tactic do you think will be the most helpful to implement first in your school? So just go and chat and type in what you think, and I'll bring those up. Which tactic do you think would be the most useful to start right away at your school? Amanda says live chat. Yeah, it's really cheap too. Live chat's like 20 bucks a month maybe. Some are free. Texting. Go Lola.
One-on-one from Judy.
Lola, texting, you can start with Google Hangouts, or I mean Google Voice. If you don't want to do like easy text, or you can just use your own phone if you're like doing that. Live video from Judy. Live chat, webinars. Yeah, webinars are great, guys. There's something about free information that people like. All right, great. So if you have questions, keep them coming. Also, at the end, we're going to leave room to talk about those. All right, Kathy, are you ready?
Absolutely. All right. So expert secret number 3. Okay, now these are close guarded secrets. Okay, so there are behind the scenes secrets that we are actually going to share with you guys. So the first one, we have authentic enthusiasm. When we talk about that, we're talking about excitement, empathy, tonality, tenacity, belief in your product. What's super important is when it comes to tonality, especially within your script, the way you open up your script, it sets the tone for the rest of your conversation. How many times do you guys call an agency and you're super excited to get information from them, and then the person answers, "Hi, how can I help you?" You know, it totally diminishes everything that you were excited about. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, well, if this person is not excited about what they're selling, why should I be excited? They don't seem as if they're even happy where they're working. So you have to be very, very, very careful. When it comes to the perfect script structure, this is super important. So many scripts that we've rewritten for schools, the script was focused 100% on the school, how elaborate their labs were, the area that they were located in, you know, how awesome their instructors are. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that during the interview. However, when you are talking to a prospect for the first time, your script should be 100% focused on the prospect, because you want to give them a little bit of information. And when I said a little bit of information, I'm really talking about just 2 sentences about your school, how long you've been in business, and how you are super excited to help students take the next step. But your entire script should be focused around what inspired them to look into your program, what's going on in their lives right now, as far as, are they working? Is there something or someone that inspired them to actually want to look into your school? What they like and dislike about their current situation as far as their job or what they do on an average day. And the why now. The why now is the most important part of your script, because it's basically telling you what impulsed them to actually pick up the phone and call your school. Also, you have to make sure that you have a recap. That recap is super important because it's outlining 3 details: what's going on in their life right now, what's inspiring them to take the next step, and why are they considering this at this point in time. Everybody is going through a certain situation. There is a reason why a prospect is trying to go from A to B, but they have no idea why that's not happening. Sometimes it could be a career change. Sometimes it could be a career upgrade. Your job is to peel that onion back and find out what is going on behind the scenes so that you can actually help them take the next step. And the reason why the recap is super important, because it says to the prospect, oh my gosh, for once in my life, somebody was actually listening to something that I said. I said earlier that a lot of times your prospects, friends and family, they're the ones that's enabling them not to move forward. So when you recap someone's situation, it says to them, holy crap, I could not have said that better. That's why note-taking is super important. And one thing, when I say recap, I'm not talking about a regurgitation of what the student says. Okay, I don't care if you got a high school diploma back in 1920. What you're talking about is the most important thing, the inspiration, what's driving them to want to take that next step. Because if they no show, or all of a sudden if they get cold feet, at least you have some tools that you've built so that you can use them and say, okay, wait a minute. You told me that this is your situation. Has that changed? Okay, so the script is going to be super important as far as the structure. Objection handling and responses. This is where a lot of advisors fall short because sometimes they have no idea how to address some of these concerns. Prospects by nature try to take over your conversation because it's information that they need to get from you. And keep in mind, the point of the first script is actually to set an appointment, but also a lot of your prospects, they're only reaching out to you because they're looking for information. So by nature, they're going to keep asking you question after question, but handling objections, that is a tool that every advisor needs so that they're able to acknowledge their question, address their question, and then ask another one. So keep in mind, when you're training your admissions teams, it's super important to let them know you're never dismissing a prospect's question. If someone asks about financial aid, it's not okay to just say, we'll get to that later. What you should say instead is, that is a great question. I am going to cover that in a couple of minutes. I just have a couple more questions for you so that I can better assist you. That's super important. Building up your offer. Two things that prospects always want to know. Can I get funding to go to school, and are you going to help me find a job? Okay, so when you're building up your brand, you always want to make sure that you include certain things and resources that your school offers. We have a career services office here that will assist you in finding placement through resume preparation, interview, job search techniques. We actually have free tutoring, we have honor roll, we have a dean's list. These are some things that are vital to tell students because they think this is very important for them to put on their resume. A lot of students take pride into being on the honor roll every session or being on the dean's list. It's what's important to them. Financial aid assistance, financing options. You want to make sure that you build your brand and you build up your offer as much as possible so that you can separate your school from any other school. Social proof, testimonials. Okay, live Facebook at orientation. That's super important. You know, before this entire impact, you know, we used to do a lot of live Facebook also, where it was during orientation. So you actually had the students that were filming with you and they were saying, you know, I'm so excited to get started next week. And you have so many people that are watching this at the same time. It makes them want to go on your website and request information. But testimonials are super important because how many prospects have said to you guys, yeah, you work there, you're supposed to say that. But if they're hearing it from an actual student or an actual graduate, okay, it's more grounds. Okay, it's more social proof. It's more credibility. All right, so that's super important. Strategic, massive follow-up. Now, I'm not talking about stalking and bombarding. A lot of advisors are super nervous about calling a prospect multiple times. But it's the sequence in which you do that, and it's the messaging that you're leaving that really leaves a footprint on what they hear on the phone or how they feel that you're actually going to be able to help them. So when it comes to your follow-up process, you have to be very strategic. Your messaging cannot always be focused around the school or focused around how great you guys are, but you have to make sure that your messaging is very specific and you put yourself in their shoes. So if I'm in a situation, what kind of messaging would actually get to me? You know, you can start something by saying, you know, tired of the 9-to-5 hassle, tired of your boss on your back, you know, went to school, got a degree, but still feel as if you're not. You want to make sure that you're talking to the prospect and your messaging is directly related to them wanting to take action and saying, you know what, this is exactly how I feel. They actually get it. They totally get how I feel. And I actually think that this is the best school to help me take, you know, my career to the next level. And basically the underlying passion to help your prospects. Look, prospects can see right through you. They can tell if you can see this is just a job, or they can tell if this is something that you are 100% passionate about. This is something that you cannot hide, and it's also something that comes very natural. So when you are really talking to your prospects and you have empathy, you're sympathizing with them, and you're really showing them that you care, guess what happens after that? Not only did you build trust, and now, basically they're going to follow anything that you say, but now their friends and their family members that are in the same position, they are going to trust you and feel comfortable with bringing their friends and family to you as well. So everything starts with just being genuine. It's all about communicating with your prospects, not just trying to get them to enroll, but trying to find the best fit for what they actually need at that point in time. So if you guys follow these tips, you are going to see way more students interested in your school and bringing all their friends and family along.
Kathy, what does it mean to be a superhero?
Basically giving a damn, just like what I said. It's all about being passionate and showing that you're genuine, because students can smell a salesperson from miles away. So it's all about separating that and really listening and exhibiting that 80-20 rule. I'm listening to you, and when you're talking to a prospect, basically all you should be responding with is, oh, okay, awesome, great, fantastic. They should be doing the majority of the talking. That's how you can effectively recap also.
That's awesome. Lola wants to be reminded real quick what number 7 was. Undenying passion to help prospects even if they don't enroll with you. It all goes back to that authentic enthusiasm. That is the foundation of really good superheroism. All right, so at this point, guys, hopefully you're not too overwhelmed. There was a lot of information. So if you have questions, definitely let us know in the chat. And also at this point, we're allowing you to open up your microphone if you want to talk there as well, okay? So feel free to ask questions. We're going to answer. We'll stay on as long as we need to. If some of you need to hop off, then I would just like to say one thing. If you want more information on how we might be able to help you, go to Insperio.com/conversion. There's a really helpful information on who we are, what we do, and a very short page on, form. So fill it out or don't, either way, it's fine. But we definitely want to help you. We've been doing this for years and years. So anyway, does anybody have questions?
So we have one question from Lola. So she said, how do you recommend a small staff with a big online student body to manage all of these tools?
Lola, that's a really good question. So it sounds like you have a lot of people wearing a lot of hats. Oh, yeah, you just said that. We're very familiar with that. And it is through these tools that you actually save more time. And I know it's weird statement to say that, but these tools actually help you connect with more people and to perform more stuff. Now, like Zoom, for example, we're able to bring on 100 people at a time with Zoom, and it's, I think, $15 or $20 a month for Zoom. Live chat, you can chat with as many people as you want that you can manage, and that's why we say to put in your auto responses. Email marketing, let me go back to that list. Email marketing, we actually try to automate as much as humanly possible. And if you have a CRM, that makes your life so much easier. And if you don't have a CRM, you can still do automation, even if you have like Google Sheets spreadsheet where you're tracking your leads. So there's ways to do it, but as much as possible, adding in automation to help you with it helps out. Like live chat, do the canned responses. That saves time typing. The email marketing, do automations so that when a brand new lead comes in, they get a email on day 1, day 2, day 4, day 7, and so on. So all of this can happen that way. Also with the CRM, it can remind your advisors on which prospects to call back. You know, did a prospect miss an appointment? Okay, reminds the advisor, call this prospect, they missed the appointment, that kind of stuff. So hopefully that helps. But I will say that all this technology is really affordable, and it really does multiply what you can do.
Hello, Ricky. This is Brad from Seattle. I have a question.
Hi, Brad. Go for it.
Hi. So in terms of social media, do you have any tips on how to use social media as a tool to reach a larger group of people besides just throwing in money for advertising?
Yeah, Brad, that's a really great question. There is a trick, and that is going live on Facebook. And when I was telling you before that when you go live on Facebook, it actually shares to other people, hey, this person's going live. And then you can start collecting these fans, you know, and then when people engage with your content, engage back with them, and then try to friend request them or ask them to follow your page. And anybody who does engage with your content, like they click on a link to your website or they watch a video, you can actually use custom targeting. I forget what it was called exactly. Anyway, it's you know, it's targeting basically, and you can store those people in Facebook's business manager so that you can retarget them later with paid ads. So really, to really get a lot of people engaged with social media is you got to put out interesting content. The most interesting is video, and it keeps people on longer, and it gets more people to be engaged. If you have something going on your location and you want to like showcase that, film it, or do a live with that, that's actually the best. If you have testimonials, that's also the best, because when you have a testimonial of somebody, they'll actually, and you, if you can, tag them, but if not, just tell them that you posted it. They'll actually share it with their friends, and all of a sudden now it's gone, you know, semi-viral, and you start getting more connections that way. Also, add social media following in your process. So we always, like the first couple emails that we send in the automations, we tell people, hey, thank you for inquiring. We're going to get back to you. Here's some little information you should know now. Also, follow us on these platforms. And so you want them to follow you there. At different steps, there's appropriate times to ask people to follow you. So now you got your, you know, your prospects in even before they're a customer and they're getting acclimated to what you're doing.
Awesome, Ricky. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Open up your mic or chat away. Hey, Kathy, I got one sent directly to me. How much information should I actually give away since it's not an in-person interview?
All of it. And so, you know, in your default, you know, phone script, you don't want to give away any information. You just want to keep it focused on the student. But in this case, if you're not able to do a face-to-face and you're doing live video, it goes back to when I was saying, make sure that you have an interview presentation. You're walking them through all of the information because they're not able to meet with you face-to-face. So that means that you have to build the same amount of value on a one-on-one live video that you would if they were face-to-face. So you're going to give away the history. You're going to give away all of your secrets as far as what career services does for them, financial aid, the benefits that they're getting from the program, the tuition, financing options, everything you are giving away to that prospect, because that live video is basically emulating a face-to-face that you cannot have at this point in time. So every single bit of information that you can is what you're going to give them, except for salaries, of course, because as you guys all know, you should, you know, basically send them to bls.gov so that you are not misquoting anything, because that information changes all the time. But other than that, when it comes to your school, give them everything.
Yeah, you'll notice these tactics are heavily used by the online school industry as well. They use all of these tactics because they can't do the on-campus. And we're talking about this now. It's actually good timing because of the impact that the virus is causing. However, these tactics are actually conversion boosters to your plan. So if you're not doing these already anyway, by adding these, they will increase your conversion rates.
Hi there. I was wondering if there's a recorded version of this presentation that I can forward on to my colleagues that weren't able to make it this afternoon.
Oh yeah, if you, I'm gonna put a thing in chat real quick. If you just email me at ricky@inspirio.ai, I'll make sure you get a recording after this is done.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, I got another one here. How do you set up a webinar? All right, so webinar, it should be structured very simply. Well, first you could use like this GoToMeeting or Zoom or something like that. But to set up your webinar, the best way is first you want to give a lot of helpful information, show them that you are an expert or that whoever's speaking is the expert, make it engaging, and then at the very end, you want to give them your offer or call to action. I mean, if it's a long webinar, maybe you want to insert some call to actions throughout, but webinars are not really, they don't go over well when it's just a big sales pitch. They really don't. Those are more for one-on-ones. And so when you're doing your webinar, you want it information-based, extremely helpful, show you're an expert, that you care, and then they'll buy from you. Hey, Kathy, got another one here. If my school doesn't have class dates or future class dates set, how do I keep my applicants engaged?
Well, there's a couple of things that you can do. I'm more sure that a lot of you guys had events that took place at your school a long time ago, or just recently before this impact. So you want to make sure that every couple of days or at least once a week, you're sending them these little reminders. You're sending them these little videos as far as the events that go on. But then you're also letting them know that, you know, this is information that you're prepping yourself for. Yes, a lot of schools are not open at this point in time, but you want to make sure that you prepare, especially when it comes to the healthcare schools that are out there, where so many jobs are basically being closed down. People are being sent home without pay. One thing that we are still in need of is healthcare. And a lot of the essential workers out there, I know some of you guys have these type of programs where you're training people in. Those jobs are still hiring at this point in time. So why sit back and wait until everything blows over? Everyone still has bills that they have to pay. Not everyone, unfortunately, falls under, you know, the new regulations with who's supposed to get what type of checks in the mail. Some people are just laid off. And unemployment right now is through the roof. So this is the point in time where you need to let your prospects know, get the information that you need now. We do have future class starts that are coming up. Here's the information. Let's start the application process so that you will be one of the first people in line.
That's awesome. Any other questions? Here's a question that might get you to ask a question. What is your biggest challenge now in your admissions or marketing? Okay, I just got another one through chat. How do I increase my contact rate on new leads? Okay, let me answer that one, Kathy, real quick. The key is the F word, or the FU word, follow up. I thought it would trick you guys. All right, follow up is the key. Okay, one thing is, it takes on average 17 phone calls to get in contact with somebody on the phone. 17, that's the average. Now, maybe you'll get in contact with them on the first call, but the average is 17 calls. That's why it seems like it's impossible to get people, especially if you're only making 10 calls on average. If you're only making 10, you're not making enough. So it requires a lot of follow-up from your calling, from your texting, from your emailing. Those are the three big ones. And then you can resort to social media direct messaging if you're not finding them on those other ways. But now that seems like a lot of follow-up, right? But you can do that and make it easier by multiplying your efforts through automation. And that's where your CRM or your SIS can come in and integrate with some of these tools to make it much easier to do massive follow-up. It's massive, but it's actually not overwhelming to the prospect, because at the end of the day, they need you to help them. And we've implemented super massive follow-up, and we rarely are getting people saying, you're calling me too much. Rarely. Because there's a way to do it. Like, you have to give days of rest. You have to make your messaging very helpful and caring and not upset or not blaming.
In addition to that, a very easy way to increase your contact rates right away also is calling your brand new leads twice the very first time. A lot of advisors, they'll call one single time, leave a voicemail, and then move on to the next one. Believe it or not, you're burning through leads if you're doing this. Because think about it this way: how many times do you guys answer the phone the very first time when an unfamiliar number comes through? 9 out of 10 you don't. But if that number comes through a second time immediately after, curiosity takes over. You start thinking to yourself, maybe it's a friend or a family that's trying to, get in contact with me from a different number. And what happens? They pick up. And so don't leave a voicemail the second time. Just call back to back twice. And then you leave a voice message the second time. You don't leave it the first time, you leave it the second time. And it's very simple. All you're saying is, hi, this is Kathy with Inspirio Institute. You requested information on one of our programs. When is a good time for us to talk today? And then you leave your phone number twice. But that is a super easy and quick way to get responses immediately. Call twice.
Yeah. All right. So any last minute questions? Okay, I think we're going to end it here. We really hope you got a lot out of this, guys. If you want a recording, just email me or go to inspirio.com/conversion to learn more. And be safe, be healthy. We'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Thank you.